Hello, this is Emily with the Olive Press podcast. Sorry it's been a few weeks. I was sick and just kid stuff. Like, that's kind of the name of the game with this. So, anyway, I'm back. Hopefully I'm going to do every week. If not, like, don't be surprised. That's just how it is with mom life. So, anyway, I am here with my lovely friend Mel. And actually, I don't know your last name. Oh wait, yes, I do. Just kidding. Mel Miller?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I knew it. All right.
Good job.
And I met you through MOPS.
Yes.
Yeah. And for people who don't know what MOPS is, it's Moms of Preschoolers.
Yes, but they did just recently rebrand
Yeah, to
to
Momco.
Momco.
That's right.
They want to be more inclusive because it's not just preschool moms anymore.
Oh,
It's
okay.
everybody.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
if you've
Yeah.
been a mom,
Right.
they want you to
Yeah.
come and have fun.
My mother-in-law turned me on to it, Rosie.
Yes.
And because she's been part of it for a really long time.
Yeah.
Not really long, like she's not old or anything. That's not what I'm trying to say. Anyway, what I'm trying to
We love
say
you,
is
Rosie.
yeah, I love you. No, but she was like part of it when my husband was little, and she loved it. I mean, she had so much support and it was great to come last year.
Yes,
it was
it really
really
was.
a beautiful time. Like, I wish I could come this year.
I know, I'm sad.
Yeah, it's just that Gianna and Finnegan hated the daycare.
Do you think you could try it again and maybe they'll love it this time?
Maybe.
They are older.
Yeah, they are a little older. I could, maybe once I'll try it and just see if they would. Yeah, I don't know. I could try it. Yeah. We'll see. Because we took him to the Croc Center one time and left him at the daycare so my husband and I could work out.
Yeah.
And a kid bit Gianna,
Oh, gosh.
like full chomp, and it turned her off of daycares. And I'm like, I
Sure.
get you. Yeah.
Yeah.
If someone came up to me and bit me in a grocery store, I'm not going to go back to that grocery store.
No,
like,
you wouldn't, would you?
yeah, I mean, it hasn't happened. Like, if it's going to happen, it'd probably be at, like, Walmart,
Yes.
Just typical Walmart
The
stuff.
Walmart is
Yeah.
where those things happen.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
anyway, yeah, but I'm glad you come. I'm glad you came here and
Thank
glad you were able to, because I was going to have one of my other friends. She's going to come on soon.
Okay.
But she has a sick horse.
Oh,
Her horse
no.
got sick. Yeah, they do homesteading.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. Like, I don't think I could handle having sick animals. Like, you got to be a special type of someone to be
Yeah.
able to do that.
Yeah,
so.
that is definitely a big stressor.
Yeah, totally. Like, that on top of sick kids, I'm like, I don't know about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's really cool that she can do that. So sometime soon she will be on, but I'm glad you could come last minute. Thank you so much for doing that.
You bet.
Awesome. So let's get started. So where are you from?
Well, I spent most of my childhood growing up in the Tri-Cities,
Okay.
mostly Kennewick, and then out towards Benton City, Badger Canyon. But yeah, we lived there from when I was about 5.5 till I was probably 22 when I moved
Wow.
up to Spokane.
Okay.
My parents had moved up here the year before, and I decided that life without mom and dad was dumb. So I moved up, and then for a while, my parents and 2 out of my 3 siblings lived here. Grandparents, couple aunts and uncles, and they've all pretty much kind of migrated away now. So I know I have 2 great aunts and uncle sets
Oh,
that
nice.
still live here, but everyone else is gone.
Including your parents?
Yeah, my
Oh, okay.
parents. So my baby sister, I'm the oldest. And then there's my sister Aletha, who lives in Canada with her wonderful husband and 5 kids. They
Nice.
live back in Ontario. And then the next is my brother Tyler and his lovely wife Natalia, and they have 3.5 kids right now.
Nice. Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah, little Nuggie is coming soon.
Ooh.
And then my baby sister Sarah and her husband Clinton, they have 4.5 kids.
Nice.
Hopefully I'm not spilling the beans. She just announced that she's
Oh,
pregnant.
that's so exciting.
It's very exciting.
Wow.
Yeah, we're excited. Well, I'm hoping for a girl. We don't
Yeah.
have a lot of girls in our family.
Oh, okay.
So, but anyway, so my baby sister Sarah, she and her husband fulfilled both of their lifelong dreams to buy property.
Oh, wow.
And the property that they found that met their criteria was way down in Idaho. in between Salmon and Chalice.
Wow.
So it's like a good 10-hour drive from me.
Yeah.
They fell in love with it. They live off grid.
Nice.
Doing a little bit of homesteading. They also have a band, Carter Junction. Check them out. They're awesome.
Ooh. If I find them, are they on Spotify?
I don't think so. They're
Okay.
they're low tech.
Oh, okay. I was going to say I could link them in the
I wish.
description.
We'll have to double check.
Yeah. Okay.
So then my brother and his wife, they also lived here in Spokane, but they decided for a variety of reasons that they would also like to move out to the country. And they ended up buying the parcel right next door to my sister.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So they lived down there. And then when my dad retired from the church and from his layman's job, they decided to retire down there as well.
Wow.
So,
oh my goodness.
it was a really, really big adjustment for all of us. It was really hard on me, but God is really good and has really worked on my heart with that.
Right.
Because, I won't lie, it was hard.
Would you ever move down there with them?
No. It's really remote, and there's like zero work for my husband.
Oh, got it.
So we are actually, my husband and I, so my husband's name is Jared, and we've been married for 7 years. We have a home and a lovely little life. We live out towards town of Sprague.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we actually live right down the road from his parents.
Oh, nice.
So
nice.
That's a nice, my in-laws are wonderful. They're just great. And actually they're both now retired.
Oh, really?
So it's been double great.
Yeah.
So that's been really nice. But yeah, so that's kind of me in a nuttish shell.
Yeah. That's so cool. So, like, did you grow up on a homestead type?
No.
Okay.
So my dad grew up in southern Idaho.
Oh,
in
okay.
the Hagerman Valley area. And so he did grow up on a farm. That was started by my dad's grandfather started. Hopefully I've got that right. My dad's grandfather started.
Oh, wow.
Homesteaded.
Yeah.
And then they just built it up into a farm. And then my mom also grew up rurally outside of Wenatchee in the Wenatchee Heights area.
Okay.
So they both have country leanings and experience and the love.
Yeah.
The love of space
Sure.
and the earth. And it's just something that I think they passed on to us kids
Yeah.
rather organically, because we all, like even my sister in Ontario, they live out in the country.
Okay.
We just all
And
love
Sprague is pretty out there too. Like,
yeah, Sprague is like 40-ish miles from Spokane. We live a little closer.
Yeah.
On the Spokane side of that. But yeah, and then my husband's family, my mom-in-law, she grew up on a cattle ranch.
Oh, wow.
And cattle ranching and wheat farming.
Yeah.
Her dad and her uncle owned a lot of land.
Oh.
So she grew up doing that, and just my father-in-law, same kind of thing, grew up in small towns, and
Yeah.
they like to farm. They've got all this stuff to do, like hay and alfalfa and barley.
Nice.
So it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
My son gets to grow up with
Right.
this neat connection to, growing our own hay, and like my mother-in-law planted a garden with him.
Oh, that's
she's done
beautiful.
that with the other grandchild. She did that all through the years with Caitlin. And so now she's doing it with Matthias. And it's so fun to watch him be like, Mom, I grew this corn.
That's
Or
amazing.
I grew these potatoes,
Yeah.
And he's discovered that the cucumbers from Grammy's garden taste better. That kind of thing. It's wonderful. So
Wow,
it's
it's a shame that homesteading has become like this niche, like it should just be normal. And it used to be.
yeah.
And so I see people that are homesteading and I'm like, I wish I could do that. I mean, we're in apartments and But so like my heart says homesteading, but my body's like, no, homesteading. Like
I get that.
like my mom has a garden and stuff and
Yeah.
grows a lot of her stuff, and it's so amazingly delicious. Like
Yes.
it's unmatched, honestly. But people that homestead like full time, I'm like, you
It's a
guys
lot
are
of work.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even
It's,
having chickens, I'm like, man, that is awesome. Like, I'd love to have chickens. I think the apartment complex probably wouldn't love that.
they might frown on things.
Probably.
Yes. I mean,
probably. Yeah.
grilled chickens aren't super noisy.
Yeah, yeah.
And you don't need grilled chickens. I mean, you don't need boy chickens.
Right,
So,
right.
But yeah, they, my family down in Idaho, they got the chickens, and my brother did goats and rabbits for a while.
Oh,
and,
nice.
And so the kids down there, you know, they're kind of getting like the same growing up as my son, just on a more rural.
Yeah, yeah. They're getting
level.
some sort of
But they're getting that
grounding.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, that connection.
That's
To the
awesome.
land and to family, and
Yeah.
and when we call where they live Idaho home, because when my
wow.
son was really little, if we were down there and we'd be out, and then I'd say, oh, we're gonna go home, and he would say, Dada, and I'd be like, no, not that home, that home's 12 hours away. Idaho home. So that's he still calls
wow.
it that. And that's become very precious to me.
Yeah.
Because when we go there, it's not as easy, you know. A lot of group gatherings are always outside just because there's no big central indoor space yet.
Sure.
But the kids roam around like a little pack of hooligans, and it's
Yeah.
wonderful. And
Yeah.
we just live our lives together, and and then I get to come home to my washer and dryer and
Yeah. Yeah. The amenities.
shower,
yeah.
and it's wonderful. I mean, they have showers, but it's not.
It's different.
It's different.
Yeah.
It's not as easy. Yeah, so it's fun. It's a lot of fun to see all the kids growing up like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So are their kids around the same age as Matthias then, or are they a little older?
There's a lot of them.
Okay.
So my sister Aletha, the one next to me, she has 5 kids.
Nice.
They range in age from 7 to pop quiz. So Leia's going to be 16.
Okay.
This
So a
November?
good range. Yeah.
No, 15. 15, because it's 7, 9, 11, 13, and 15.
Oh, nice.
Are the kids. This is
Nice.
an odd year.
Sure.
So that's those kids. And the Canadian kids. I call
Yeah.
them. And then my brother's kids are almost 16, just turned 14, 1,
Wow.
and then little Nuggy,
Yeah.
who will be
That's a
coming
pretty
in
wide range.
December.
Wow.
Yeah, they thought that they were done, and then
Yeah.
they figured out that they were not, and took a chance on things, and
Yeah.
surprised the socks out of all of us when the Kaylee, the younger of their 2 older kids, when she showed up to Thanksgiving dinner wearing a Big Sister t-shirt.
Wow.
Because
Yeah.
we had no idea that they were going out on a limb like that.
Sure.
And
That's a
and-
huge.
yeah.
That is huge.
Yeah. And then Leah, so that's Aiden and Kaylee, and then Leah, they call her Queen Leah because
Nice.
obviously she runs the house.
Oh, naturally.
I mean,
yeah.
there's no other way. Yeah. So so that's them. And then my baby sister Sarah, her oldest is Boone, and he's 7.
Nice.
And then Utah is my son's age. They're like
wow.
5 weeks apart. They should have only been like 2 or 3 weeks apart.
Yeah.
But Matthias came early. So yeah, Boone and Utah, and then baby Cora is their daughter. We lost her. She was born very, very early, at like 22, 23 weeks.
Wow.
She lived for, let me think, 8 days? I'm sorry, Sarah, I don't remember. 8 days or 10 days.
Wow.
Yeah, so she's, we never forget her.
Yeah.
So that's Cora. And then baby Eli, he's not a baby anymore. He'll be 2.
Wow.
soon. Yeah, and then she's gonna have a new one.
Yeah.
So we're
Wow.
excited.
That's amazing.
So there's lots of kids. And the wonderful thing about all of these kids is, like, even though Matthias is on the younger end of the playable age of kids, all the kids are just so wonderful, and they all play together, and they're great.
Yeah.
So
having a lot of cousins is so, like, it's pretty unique.
it's,
Because I have a lot. I
you?
have like 20 something.
oh, nice.
Yeah. Well, my grandma had 13 kids, you know, so it's like, so it was bound to happen. But, yeah, I have a lot of cousins, and it's awesome because, like, there's a huge range of ages.
Yeah.
And my cousins, and like, I have some cousins that live up here. A lot of them are scattered.
Okay.
But we grew up and we would have Christmases together, and we'd see each other all the time, and it's awesome. Like, we've gone and done our own things, you know, like we have our separate families and everything. But yeah, it's really cool because, like, so, like, my cousin Zach, I think he's like 12 days younger than me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like we met like the day he was born, basically.
Yeah.
And he was Teddy's best man in our
love that.
wedding. Yeah, it
That's
was
wonderful.
really, really cool. Yeah. So having that family though is like, it's just unique, you know? People and like, I think in Catholic families it's pretty common. Like, there's a lot of kids.
Yeah.
But I've talked to, like, people that have one or two cousins. I'm like, really? How do you do that?
Yeah.
Like, I
Well,
bet Christmases are less chaotic, for sure.
Yes. So on my husband's side, he has 2 siblings.
Okay.
And there's only one other child.
Okay.
So it's my son and his cousin Caitlin, and she's 13.
Okay, so they're pretty far apart.
They're far apart in age, but they love each other.
Oh,
And
that's
like,
so
he
sweet.
spent the night at Grammy and Papa's last night because Caitlin was also there, and they were having a sleepover.
Oh, wow.
You know, so
Yeah.
like, they have a little bit of a different relationship just because she's so much older than
Sure.
he is, but they still play and they have so much fun together.
Yeah.
And that's also so precious.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
she calls him her little bro.
Oh,
It's
that's so
cute.
beautiful.
Yeah, I love it.
Wow. So you guys see each other pretty frequently then?
Yeah,
Nice.
we do. I mean, more in the summer. The school year gets busy, but
And Matthias is in preschool?
he's in kindergarten.
Kindergarten,
this
that's
year.
right.
Yes, he is going to a lovely private school
Nice.
out in Edwall. It's called Christian Heritage.
Okay.
And
Nice.
yeah, it's kind of sweet because my husband's aunt is the kindergarten teacher.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. So we're delighted.
It's almost like homeschooling in a sense. Like,
Well, there's only 5 kids in the class too.
yeah,
this year.
definitely. It's
Yeah.
like a co-op
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah, this year
Wow.
for some reason the kindergarten class is really small. Like last year, I
Yeah.
think she had 14 kids.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
So this is a lot smaller, but
Yeah.
he loves it. He gets to ride the school bus every day
wow.
to and from, and I just have to pick him up a couple miles from our house. And
That's amazing.
he's loving it.
Yeah.
Like, Mrs. Stromberger is amazing. Yes, Janet, you. She's even gotten him to, like, color things. He never colors.
Wow.
He doesn't like to color. But
Yeah,
he
yeah.
says he likes to color at school. So,
It's different, you know, because you're like,
well, he didn't color at preschool.
oh, interesting.
Like, he would do, like, one black circle.
Yeah,
And be
yeah.
like, I'm done. Can I go play?
Wow.
So,
He sounds so smart too, because you sent me that video of him reciting Romans. Oh,
3:23.
right. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's just the beginning. She does a Bible verse for every letter of the alphabet through the year.
Oh my gosh.
I had no idea I figured he'd be getting, chapel and some
Sure.
Bible stories and stuff, and I was on board for all of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had no idea that he was going to be learning a Bible verse every week or two.
Oh my gosh.
However it spaces out. Wow. So I'm super excited, and he's so
Man.
cute with it.
I want that list. So like
Oh,
I could teach the
yes.
kids that.
Yeah.
Because like Gianna is able, to recite the Hail Mary now. Excuse me, sorry, I had a root beer float before this.
Oh.
So I'm a little
Mistakes.
burpy. But no, but for like, so she just randomly just
She just heard you guys.
recited it, and I'm like,
Oh.
when did this click? Like I'm just
Yeah.
sitting there, and she just says it, and I'm like the whole thing, and I'm like, wow. That was really cool.
That is
like,
cool.
because you just don't realize it, and then when they do, you're like, okay, I'm
Oh.
doing something right. Like
Yes.
they're actually like absorbing it. It's not just you're speaking to a wall. Like they actually appreciate that stuff.
And it soaks in
Yeah.
all of that, which is terrifying to me because, sorry, Mom, I have a potty mouth. Which is funny, though, because, like, I don't tend to swear around my parents.
Okay.
But when my son was young, I was, like, grousing to my mother about, oh, what if he learns a potty word and it's my fault?
Yeah.
And my mom's like, but you don't swear around me. I'm like, well, yeah, you're my mom. And she said something to the effects of, well, he's your son. Apply the same principle. And it was like something in my brain clicked and it was like, oh, I can just choose not to.
I know. I thought that too, because I was like...
But sometimes that's hard.
Yeah, Gianna knows a lot of potty words, actually. Like, and the problem is when she uses them, like, in context, like proper context, I'm like,
no.
oh, no!
Yeah,
like, I'm proud of you for knowing grammar, but I'm not proud of you for applying it like that. Like...
Yeah, I've made it very clear to all involved. Like, the first time Matthias busts out with a naughty word, I am throwing his papa, his grandpa Miller, under the bus because this is just the way. Like, it's Ron's fault. My father-in-law is Ron, and then Mrs. Stromberger is his sister.
Okay.
So I told Aunt Janet, okay, I want this to be understood. If Matthias starts trotting out the potty words at school, look at your brother. And she's like, oh, absolutely. So I've got a nice backup plan there.
Yeah, there you go.
But no, I will have to take some responsibility.
I know. I'm like, I could blame Teddy, but honestly, I have a worse mouth than him.
Oh,
by far.
That's
like,
the same with my husband and I.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the one. I blame it on the call centers I worked at when I first started. Working in Spokane.
Those
Oh man, let me tell you.
people
Graveyard
like
call centers.
That's even worse.
It is.
Because you think that you're sitting there and you're just gonna course through the night. No. They're like, and that's when people are the most crazy.
Yeah.
Is in the middle of the night and they're just like, it's like they're hallucinating almost.
Maybe. Yeah.
I don't know what's up with them, but they have weird.
People are weird.
Nighttime brings all those kookies out.
Yes,
Yeah.
it does.
It's I was an MA for a long time.
Oh yeah.
Not a long time, like 3 years, but some of those calls, like I love the patients, I will take care of them, but some of them I'm like, I don't think you understand like what's going on here. Like it just, I can't give any like specific details because of like HIPAA. Yeah, but some of them I'm like, I get off the call and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need a drink. Like, that was crazy. Just like, I was on the phone with that person for half an hour and I'm pretty sure we talked about one thing only. And it was not what I was expecting to talk about today. Like, it just... And then they call all the time.
Frequent flyers.
Yes, the frequent flyers. And I'm like, God bless you. You make my day very interesting. However, I really feel like I need a resuscitation after that. It's just crazy. Yeah. So how long did you do the calls for?
Oh, I worked, let's see. Okay, this is problematic because my mind does not hold on to time very well. I probably worked there for a couple of years and then I quit and did something else for a while, but then I ended up having to go back because I just needed a job.
Sure.
And the first time around was a lot of fun because I worked for Virgin Mobile.
Okay.
I worked for Virgin Mobile back when Richard Branson owned it.
Oh,
like Virgin Records.
Yeah.
Virgin Atlantic and stuff. And the man is kooky. And so we had a lot of fun because we were encouraged because this was like a British thing and he wanted us to be cheeky. So we got to be cheeky and it was inbound calls only. Yeah. So just adding time, just topping up people's minutes on their cell phones. I mean, I had all kinds of interesting phone calls, from like what I'm pretty sure were, kingpin drug dealers back east to like people who are like, do the Indians still live in teepees? That is a direct quote. I'm not being insensitive. Like, I had somebody ask me if, quote, the Indians still lived in teepees and rode horses to town.
Wow.
Out in the West. And I was like,
They're from the East.
yeah, a lot of
Okay,
these
that
people
makes
were
sense. Yeah.
East Coast. And it was just like, are you serious right now? Are you serious? Like, no, but just
I'll let you know if I see one.
Yeah, I will let you know.
Yeah.
So just like all kinds of really interesting
That's
things,
crazy.
and I really enjoy people watching, and so this was kind of a direct and indirect people watch.
Yeah.
Like
People are so interesting.
oh yeah, they are, and the things that they will tell someone on the other end of the phone.
Yeah. It's pretty
It's
amazing.
wild.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How open they can be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whew.
And sometimes you're like, dial that back. I don't need to know any.
It's like,
Of that.
I just talked to you like a minute ago. Like, I didn't even know you existed until now. And now I know every facet of your life. Like, I wasn't prepared for this.
No, yeah. It was fun. The first time around was fun. The second time wasn't fun because then the company had been sold and we weren't supposed to
Couldn't be cheeky anymore. I love that word, cheeky.
It's a fun word.
I heard it on Bluey for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
I love Bluey.
Oh,
It's
we
so...
love Bluey at our house.
Gianna is straight up Muffin. Like, for people that haven't watched Bluey, Muffin is Bluey and Bingo's cousin.
Yeah.
And she is absolutely insane.
She's feral.
Very feral, yeah. Gianna actually takes quotes from Muffin and says them. What did she say? She said, I need to watch Bluey now. And I'm like,
Oh, that is
heck no, girlfriend. No.
Not with that attitude.
Yeah, no, not right now.
Yeah.
What else did she say? I don't know. Anyway, she knows all of them by heart now, though, like all the episodes.
Oh, yeah.
And I love Muffin. I think she's hilarious. But not when I'm dealing with Muffin in
you don't,
life.
No. You don't want your child to be
Muffin
incarnate.
Yeah.
Yeah. We definitely went through a hot Bluey phase. Mm-hmm. But now and then when the new episodes drop and like those, have you seen those mini episodes?
Yes, they're so cute.
My husband and I are still like, okay, Matthias, family night, we're gonna watch Bluey.
Yeah.
We love it.
It's amazing because, like, I've rewatched the shows that I used to watch growing up.
Oh yeah.
And nothing compares.
Oh no.
Nothing. Like,
what kind of stuff did you watch?
I watched Teletubbies, which I'm sorry, Mom. Like, I turned on Teletubbies for Gianna one time, and I turned it off within 5 minutes. I'm like, I want to shoot myself in the head from watching that show.
Yeah.
Hell no, never again. Like, I hate Teletubbies.
Yeah.
But my mom is a saint, and she put up with it. Elmo was a big one for me. Sesame Street.
Elmo was.
That was
really
actually
big.
my first word was Elmo.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, and I feel a little ashamed about that. Like, normally it's like Mom and Dad, and I was like Elmo. But no, I do like Sesame Street. I think it's really good. Great. I learned a lot. Between the Lions, have you ever seen that?
I've heard of it, but I'm not familiar.
It's really good. It's puppets, and they're lions, and they live in a library, and they learn how to read, and it's really cool.
Oh, that sounds cute.
Yeah, like it's kind of like a play on words between the lines.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool. So I watched that, and then a little bit further, I was watching like Kim Possible and the Disney stuff. But it was kind of funny because my parents didn't let us watch some Disney, but they let us watch other Disney. Like, I could watch That's So Raven.
Oh.
Which was pretty sassy, but I couldn't watch Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, which wasn't very sassy, or which was like kind of on the same level. Like, they were, I don't know, it was kind of weird.
That is, yeah.
How they were like, some of it is okay, but some of it isn't okay. Like,
yeah. I mean, we do that with our son now because like we have the Disney hookup, and he can either watch Disney or Netflix on the kids' accounts.
Yeah.
But for like, there's just some of the shows where I'm like, yeah, no. I don't want him watching that. And then actually, at least on Netflix, my husband at work on his work computer can go in and block some of that stuff.
Oh, nice.
Which I can't do from my cell phone.
Yeah.
So like then it just doesn't show up, and out of sight, out of mind, and he doesn't care.
Right.
So that's kind of nice. Yeah, I'll have to find out which one that is because I don't remember. But yeah, it's I
It's
mean,
hard.
the things that I watched as a kid, drivel. Absolute drivel. Although Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood,
Oh,
Ray of Sunshine, I love that man, and it makes me sad that like my son's never seen it.
yeah.
And I don't know what he would think
I don't think
of it.
Yeah, I know. I was just thinking about that the other day, actually.
I'd love to find it and then just like be like, "Hey, bud, come and watch this with me."
Yeah, you could probably find it on YouTube, I
I
bet.
bet I could. Yeah, or PBS or something
Yeah.
online.
Yeah, he was so awesome.
He was.
It's kind of it's so different from like shows, even Bluey, you know, because it's very slowed down, you know, and you got to listen in order to really like understand what's going on. And I don't know if Gianna and Finnegan would appreciate it.
Probably not at their age because they're only 1 and 2. Right?
They're 3 and 2.
Oh, 3 and 2.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No,
They
you're good.
aged.
They just, I know, crazy,
Rude.
right?
That is crazy.
Yeah. 3 and 2.
3 and 2.
I'm a husk of a woman right now. I'm like
Oh my
Gianna's potty
goodness.
training right now, and she goes, this is from Bluey. She's like, Aunt Chili, I need the toilet, and that's how she tells me she needs to go to the bathroom.
Goodness, that's amazing.
And I'm like, okay, do you actually need to go to the bathroom, or are you just quoting socks?
Yeah.
And she's like, and then she says it again, and I'm like, okay, fine, let's just try it. And
we employ the tactical wee. You know,
Yeah.
just that practice one before you go to bed.
Yeah.
And the bush wee and
Yes.
Oh yeah, we had all of that stuff.
Oh man, that's so funny. The tactical wee.
Tactical wee.
Yeah.
That was like from the very first episode.
Yeah, or something like that.
Very first or maybe second.
Yeah, it
really
was in the
early
first
on.
season for sure, but they have some good stuff. Like
Oh man.
Gianna was like, what did she do? She was playing with a toy and it like broke or something, and she's like, biscuits.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, thank God she said that and not something else.
I know. Well, the other day I went to say like an expletive, you know, and it came out like, oh, cheese. And then I was like, and crackers, you know, employing my inner bandit there.
Yeah.
But yeah, biscuits, cheese and crackers,
Yeah.
gravy and rice. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's better than the alternative.
Honestly,
Although I had a Sunday school teacher when I was about 12, Linda Clint. Hi, Linda. She insisted that it didn't matter what you said. If you say it in the wrong attitude, in the wrong spirit, anything is a swear word.
interesting.
Yeah. And I always thought about that because her example was when she was a kid, she said, oh, chair. But then she realized that she was saying, oh, chair, just as vehemently as somebody else would say, oh, flippity flip flip.
Yeah.
And she realized, oh, no, that's wrong. So I always think about that when I talk about swears.
That's so interesting.
It is interesting. Yeah.
But what would you do as the alternative, I guess? Because like,
I don't know.
because I feel like it's natural to express yourself, like
Exclaim something.
yeah, exclaim something. Like I'm not gonna bang my toe on a chair or something and be like like
Yeah. Like,
like just
yeah, you got to do something.
I think I'd explode like a balloon. I'd probably just like turn red and just
be like, boop,
Yeah.
no more Emily.
yeah, there goes mom. Yeah, I don't know, that'd be interesting to know, like,
But it kind of, when I think about that, it does keep me in check for
yeah,
at least my attitude.
right.
Like, if you just, you know, if you hit your toe and we're like, I'm not gonna,
Yeah,
okay,
right,
moving on,
right,
you know. But, because things happen.
right,
We're
right.
human.
That's so interesting, though. I'll
Isn't
have
it
to like
interesting?
chew on that a little bit, you know, just like
Well,
think of
obviously-
like what you could do as an alternative to like yelling something out.
Yeah.
You know, because to me, I mean, I grew up swearing, like, not that my mom was like okay with swearing or whatever, but it was like I learned it pretty early.
Pretty early.
Yeah, and I wouldn't use it very often, you know, but like now that I'm an adult, I use it a lot more. I just
Yeah.
don't think I could do something, like, I don't think I could go without saying something. Yeah, swearing's a hard one.
It is. But
That's
yeah,
really,
I kind of just try to go for like socially acceptable. Something that
Yeah.
won't get me in trouble with my mother.
Right, yeah. One time I tried to give up swearing for Lent. That did not work at all.
No?
It actually, I swore more
Probably.
by accident, like, because I'd be like, oh, bleep, and then I'd be like, oh, bleep. Yeah, and it was just like
Exactly.
a spiral. And I'm like, I don't think that's helpful for me.
No.
Like maybe someday. But no, not then.
Today is not the day.
Yeah.
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 No, that is funny.
I was also in the medical field at the time too, and so that like makes a big difference.
Yes.
Yeah. So, sheesh. So, how did you meet your husband?
Oh my goodness. Well, so should I start there or should I had been divorced.
Okay.
For this is where dates are hard. Time is hard. I think I'd been divorced for almost a year.
Okay.
Had bebopped around and dated quite a bit. Not super happy about that, but I was not in a good emotional place.
Sure.
The divorce was really traumatic. My first husband, he was like 4 years younger than me. And he had always said, well, I want kids, I just don't want them now. We had dated for 8.
Okay.
We're married for 5. Well, married for like 3 when this happened. And my ex-husband said, I just knew something was wrong. So I just kept pushing and pushing and pushing him until, will you just tell me what is wrong? Mm-hmm. And he said, I don't think I ever want to have kids. And I think you should find someone who can make you happy.
Wow.
Yeah. It was world-changing, earth-shattering.
Yeah.
Broke my heart. And it took a long time for me to work through all of that and get to the point where we did get divorced. We lived in the same house for, I don't know, probably almost another, this is my guess, a year after that. He had the bedroom upstairs. I lived down. We just, because I didn't want to do anything that I would regret.
Right.
I don't deal well with regret. It eats away at me.
Sure.
And so I just, chewed on it and finally ended up moving out because it was just not, it was like, I just can't live in the same house with you anymore. And
yeah, that's painful.
It's so painful. And then, so eventually, like, at the 5-year mark, I think we even went out to dinner for our 5-year anniversary. But then soon after that, like that summer, my dad went with me to the courthouse to file. So that was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot. And
how old were you around this time?
Oh, we got married when I was 28. So I was like 32, 33.
Okay.
So, I was just not like super awesome. And so I'd done a lot of dating and most of it was internet dating.
Sure.
I just didn't like know anybody.
Yeah.
You know, like where do you find these people? And I wasn't a bar goer. So yeah, I saw his profile on Plenty of Fish.
Nice.
And
were you living in Tri-Cities around this time?
No, I was living up here in Spokane.
Oh, okay.
And at that point, I think I lived on Mount Spokane with a dear friend, Shannon. That was very sweet to me. But I saw his ad, whatever, profile, and he just had this like direct, sweet look to him, and his nerdiness was shining through what he said. And like he had a really sweet picture of him holding like a baby gosling that they'd found on the property and showing it to I don't remember if his niece was in that picture, but he was holding this baby. And I, of course, have since seen the picture. It's him showing the baby gosling to his niece, our niece. And so I read his profile and he's like, I'm however old I am, 34. Oh my goodness, I don't remember how old we were. That's embarrassing. Anyway, he was younger than me. And and younger than what he said he was interested in. But I was like, oh, but so I just said hi.
Yeah, yeah.
And apparently the nerdy pictures on my profile, I had a picture of me in a big, like, Tudor / Elizabethan style reenactment dress
Yeah.
at one of the Comic-Cons or something that we were promoting our fair at. So it's me in my big fat lady's dress, as it is officially known, and next to somebody in a Day of the Dead type outfit
Yeah,
from
yeah.
Mexico. Yeah, so weird stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
And so he was like, "Oh, you look interesting," and we just hit it off.
Wow.
So, yeah, we talked for a couple weeks or a month or whatever it was, and then the first time I met him, I remember, like, literally the first time I saw him in person, walking up to him and thinking, "Oh, I want to keep this one."
Oh.
And then I remember leaving that first date praying,
Yeah.
"God, can I please keep this one?
Wow.
I want this man to be in my life."
Yeah.
And lucky for me, lucky for both of us, we hit it off. And he's a very direct person, so and he's also been married before.
Okay.
So we came to each other with this overwhelming sense of, I want to know what your intentions are. I want to know the answer to all these questions. He just so happened to have an app on his phone with all of the questions already written down.
Wow.
I just knew I wanted to know answers. He had all the questions.
Yeah.
So the very first date, he's like, "Hey, you want to play, little
20 questions?
20 questions?" And he pulls out his phone and gets his little notes app up. And he's like, "Okay, easy, medium, or hard question."
Yeah.
And I'm like, easy, and it was like, "What's your favorite food?" And, then medium was, I don't even know, like, "Do you want kids?" And then hard, what do you personally believe as far as God and faith goes?
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
all of that kind of stuff. And we just powered through this list for, like, I don't remember, 2 or 3 dates. But what it did was it gave us both a sense at the very get-go, like, no, we understand each other.
Yeah.
And because of my experiences with my first husband, Jared learned that he needed to ask me first, and he wouldn't answer until I would answer, because I was very programmed to defer to my first husband. And that is actually something that I am still working on eliminating.
So, like having your own opinions?
Yes, I didn't have opinions.
Got it.
Because basically, if I had an opinion and it was different than my first husband's, it would more than likely ruin our day, ruin our outing, ruin the weekend. Life was really good if he got exactly what he wanted when he wanted it.
Sounds like narcissism.
Very much. I just didn't know what that was at the time.
Yeah.
I'd never seen it in my life. And it's been a long time working on that. And my husband is the best. Like, God gave me the right husband because he is patient. And even if he gets a little frustrated, like yesterday, it was 9:00 at night. And he asked me, "Hey, do you want to watch a Rings of Power?" It's our show we're watching right now.
Season 2.
And I knew I didn't want to, but there's this war in my head and my heart going, "No, you just need to suck it up, and you just watch it. You'll have fun." And as I'm like, "But I really don't want to. I'm tired. It's 9:00. I just, and he was like, he got a little, I think he just was a little frustrated with me not just answering his question, because he was just sitting down to his dinner.
Okay.
He'd been doing some work for a friend out in the shop. And he basically was like, "It's not that hard. Just tell me." And he walks away. And I got this huge surge of anger. And it wasn't necessarily at him. It's probably more at me, the ex, and I pitched a little bit of a fit, slammed the door. And he came back and we talked about it. Like, a lot of spouses, I feel like, would just be like, "What is her problem?"
Yeah.
F that.
Yeah.
No. He came back, opened up the door, and was like, "Hey, I just meant that, just tell me. I just need an answer. I just want to know the answer to my question." And I you know, I at that point was crying because I was like, why would you say that to me? You know, but because you know how I struggle. And he's like, I just wanted you to know that it's not a big deal. It's okay if you disappoint me. And it's not really a disappointment. I just wanted to know where to eat my dinner.
Yeah.
So there's lots of those kinds of things that we go through on a daily basis that he is amazing at. And it's helped me to really like find my voice and my opinion.
Right.
And just take, you know, some of that back. Yeah. So, and because of like where we both came from with our marriages, he also had a very big misunderstanding with his ex-wife. I didn't ask him if it's okay to talk about this.
You don't have to.
No. It's fine. He was married for 9 years, and then she discovered that she was not heterosexual anymore. So they ended up getting divorced, you know, and that's a pretty big, like, oh yeah, you failed to mention that, you know, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So
9 years is a good chunk of time.
And so it's important to the both of us to talk and to check in with each other.
Yeah.
And like we have disagreements all the time, but they're little.
Yeah.
They're not big.
And that's a natural part of marriage.
It is a natural part of marriage. You know, it's just like, okay, well, I was thinking this and you were thinking that, and this is why. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I see your point. Okay. And that's really wonderful.
To be able to talk things through and understand that you guys aren't going to leave. Like,
nope.
You're there for the long haul.
We are. Yeah, we're very, we work hard at it.
Yeah.
And it's good too. Like, I like it.
Yeah.
I like him.
Well, yeah. He sounds like an awesome dude. I've never met him, but I've heard you talk about him. He sounds very similar to Teddy.
Yeah.
Very similar.
Yeah.
Like the nerdiness, especially, and like, and being straightforward too. And I think that's beautiful that Matthias can see you guys working out your problems in real time. Because then he can know, okay, it's not problematic to have differing opinions because you can always find some sort of common ground.
Yes. And I think that like Jared and I are both very good at apologizing when we've hurt the other person, whether or not we were quote unquote wrong, just apologizing for the hurt or the, you know, the squishing of feelings and that kind of stuff. And Matthias sees that, and like, so I am full of problems. So
am I.
I know, like, well, who isn't? But I just, sometimes when I talk about these kinds of things, like all in a row, I'm like, oh my goodness, I sound like a, you know.
If I wrote down all my problems on a paper, I'd be like, oh my gosh.
I know, like, just bring me the padded broom. I have struggled.
I want a cozy straight jacket.
I know, like, I want one of those nice black ones.
Yeah, it feels like,
I like black.
Yeah, right.
I swear, I'm just like a little
that'd be so cozy
goth girl at heart. But so I also deal with a lot of chronic depression and anxiety, and so for my son, like, he, when he was younger, especially, like, I always thought, like, from the time I was a kid, I wanted to be a mom. Yeah. And I wanted to have like 4 kids and do all the things.
Yeah.
And I always thought I would be a great mom. I babysat everybody's kids. I loved everybody's kids. The real mom, the real me. I mean, like,
it sounds like you're a good mom.
I don't want to toot my own horn, but I think I'm a decent mom. But it's hard. It's harder than you think it's going to be when you're young and you don't really see what your own mom goes through because she makes it look mostly easy. You know, so
that is the truth.
It is. Momming is hard, and so for me, like, one of the ways that my issues, what's the word? Materialize? manifest, is intense anger spikes for little to no reason sometimes. So I definitely have been working on that, but at the same time, like, it is heartbreaking to me when I lose my cool.
Yeah.
To see the look on my son's face or my husband's face. But because of that, like, I am instantly like, oh, well, I don't know where that came from, and I don't know why I was so angry, but come here, dude, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
So I'm really open with him. Like, even when he was 2, I'd be like, I'm really sorry. That shouldn't have happened. But mommy makes mistakes. Will you forgive me? And
that's huge.
That's how we do it, because like, otherwise I just know I'd be messing him up. But that does bring me to like, so, realizing that about myself and kind of having it put to me on more of a daily basis of, oh man, there's stuff wrong with me. I guess it's been like almost 2 years now. I started, like, for years, my husband has been telling me, you should not watch that true crime stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Leave the serial killers alone.
Yeah,
but I'm like, I love them. And what I didn't realize, he knew because he's always right, but what I didn't realize was how low all of that stuff drug my soul. And so like I call it kind of like my baseline of depression was so bad.
Yeah.
So the baseline was really low. And then when I had a sinking into the depths, it was really bad. Like, just, no hope. How am I going to live the rest of my life like this? I mean, I'm grateful that I never had those thoughts of like, I could just end this. I mean, always the thought of, I could get in a car accident maybe and sit in the ICU for 6 months. That might be nice.
Yeah.
So that was always like a thing.
Like, have a break.
Get a break, just for my brain.
Right.
But what I finally started doing was pulling away from that stuff. And because I had found a podcast that was ridiculous and silly, but it made me laugh.
Which podcast?
Oh, it's so inappropriate.
Oh.
Help, I Sexted My Boss. It's a British one.
Okay.
And I love their humor. And it's, like I said,
British people are cheeky.
They are cheeky and they're funny.
Yeah.
No, this is the 2 guys that do this. Well, one was a radio announcer for like BB1 or 4 or whichever one. And then the other one is an etiquette expert. Oh, and so they get together, they're friends. And
this etiquette expert, what's his name?
William.
I think I might have seen him on
Instagram.
Seen him.
You've seen him.
He's the one who's like, don't eat your peas.
Yeah, no.
Like, skewer your peas.
Yes, and never pop the grapes off the vine. You cut them with grape scissors.
The grape scissors.
Yes,
that
that's
dude,
him.
yes.
So I started listening to their podcast from the very beginning.
Okay.
And it just was like, oh, I'm laughing.
Yeah.
This is great. But then I realized, oh, well, if I'm not intaking all of the serial killers, what do I want to put in there? And then I realized, oh yeah, no, I should probably listen to some, I love music. So, I love listening to worship music and just Christian artists or like, a lot of my favorite stuff is actually like the country artists from the 90s who do covers of like old hymns and stuff. So I just started listening to more of that. And then I found a couple podcasts that were happier. And then I found the Bible study at Redeemer Lutheran. They have a Bible study for moms.
Nice.
I'm really looking forward to that starting up again. And then I found through that, one of the girls, Jenny, she invited me to the MOPS.
Oh, wow.
So I ended up going to like the last month of both that Bible study through our church and the last couple weeks of MOPS.
Was last year
my first year?
Okay.
Yeah, it was my first
full year. Yeah.
And it just kind of gave me like this sense of, oh, okay, support and like I'm not alone. Yeah. And then at the time I was also meeting with one of our pastors, Pastor Drew, who was great. Because what I really wanted was just like I've done the therapy because I got issues.
Same.
But I felt like I had resolved those secular issues as well as I could. And for the first time in my life, I was viewing my depression and anxiety through a spiritual lens. I had always just looked at it as a chemical problem.
Yeah, yeah.
But the meds only do so much
Right.
for me.
Right.
And so I, started working on the Bible study and doing daily. There's a really neat prayer app. I can't remember what it's called, but it's, just a daily thing. And it's like 7 minutes or something. And just a lot of that stuff. And I realized that it was like I was coming up out of the depths, and my baseline for depression was no longer, down at my ankles. It was at my knees.
Yeah.
And then it was my waist. And then, now I feel like when I have a bad time with my depression, it's nowhere near as dark, and it's nowhere near as long, and I don't have that horrible feeling of how will I ever live the rest of my life
Yeah.
with this.
Because you were seeing hopeful things.
Yes. And so I started, filling my spirit with good and with God. And that just, it made so much difference. I occasionally, I'm like, I miss the serial killers,
Yeah.
But then I'll just like go watch like a EMS response
Yeah,
video
yeah.
on YouTube, and I'll get my fix of dark things.
Sure.
But if I'm not careful, that'll drag me into police
Yeah.
response videos, and then that'll drag me into like, well, in 1987,
Yeah.
Ted Bundy did the thing, and then I'm like, oh crap.
Well, I'm back.
Well, I'm back. Okay. All right. 2 days clean. But and my husband thinks I'm ridiculous because he's like, I don't know why you like that garbage.
No,
But it's like a middle-aged white woman thing.
It's
what we do.
It's kind of interesting.
It's so fascinating.
I can't watch it because like I watch that stuff and I'm like, ooh, I don't like this because this could actually happen. Like,
yeah.
That's the thing that creeps me out. Like, I'm okay with watching like Halloween, like Michael Myers, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that because I'm like,
so
I'm
out
pretty
there.
sure that there's not this superhuman man in a mask that's gonna come and murder me and my family.
Help, I married an axe murderer.
Yeah.
Have you seen that one?
No.
Oh, you should.
Oh, I've heard
I'm
it's
pretty sure
so
Mike
funny.
Myers.
Is it?
Is it Mike Myers? No, not Mike Myers.
Or Jason, maybe?
Who's the guy that played Austin Powers?
Oh, yeah, Mike Myers.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it's him.
Okay.
He's
Mike
not
Myers is not that's his name, like the actor.
The actor, yes. He's
Michael
in that.
Myers is an
Michael
actual
Myers.
serial
go.
killer guy.
He's the one with the mask.
The one with the mask, and he has the knife, and
Yeah.
goes like, yeah, with what's her name, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But all of that stuff is fun.
Yeah,
Because
because
it's
it's like,
just out
oh, that
there.
probably couldn't happen, but like, so like, I watched The Conjuring. Big mistake, super big mistake.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that one.
Bad mistake.
Yeah, we don't do that.
Nope, no demon
because
stuff.
that
That
is
stuff's
a thing.
real, like very real. Like, I've dealt with that stuff in my own life, type real, and it's like, but I was watching it with my friends, and it was so funny because, so I was, I think I was like not even 21 yet, and I was watching with my friends, and they lived in this house, and it was like a bachelor pad. We called
fun.
it the Pit. Yeah,
Oh my
shout out to
goodness.
Bailey. It was truly a bachelor pad. And so anyway, so I was watching it with my friend Colton, and my friend Bailey was upstairs, and we were like, hey, you want to watch this with us? And he's like, no, I hate that shit. Like, sorry, I hate that stuff. And our friend Grayson was there too, and he's like really big into the horror. And he's like, yeah, the other day I was watching that movie and the crucifix fell off our wall. And I'm sitting there like,
Oh.
okay.
That's a sign.
Yeah. And so anyway, so Bailey like went upstairs and we started watching it or whatever because I'm an idiot. And all of a sudden the lights turned off. And I'm like, that was a little creepy. Like, but it was snowing. So I'm like, oh, maybe this is normal.
Yeah.
And then they turn back on and I'm like, okay, that's fine. And then they start flickering.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, Bailey, get your electrician's ass down here now. He comes down and he's like, what's going on?
Was
and
he
I'm
doing
like,
it?
yeah. So he was flipping the breaker, and I didn't know that though. And so when it started flickering, I ran out of that house like Usain Bolt, no shoes. It was snowing.
No.
And I'm like, I'm done.
leaving.
Like, because it was so scary. And then he came out and was laughing. So actually, he got it on video. So
Oh yeah. Naughty.
little bastard. Anyway,
Yeah.
we're still friends, so it's cool.
Good,
But it was
good.
really funny. Like, and I've seen that movie twice actually.
And which one was that?
The Conjuring.
The Conjuring.
It's so stupid,
I've seen that
honestly, but it is scary. Like in like The Exorcist, or not The Exorcist, The Rite.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, that stuff. I don't mess with that stuff because it's like, so one of our priests. This was when I was in 7th grade. He was our pastor. He's an actual exorcist.
Is he really?
Yeah, Father Ripperger. He's brilliant. Like he's very knowledgeable about the faith and just from his experience of doing exorcisms and stuff. Like he's learned like a lot about like the faith and stuff. And so I'll send you some videos. He's really cool. Like he has some really cool stories. But it was like, so like I had experience with that. My aunt had some issues, like diabolical issues, and she lived with us for a little bit when I was in 7th grade. And he actually helped her to go through that. So we would say these like deliverance prayers actually, that he had recommended for us to kind of like get that bad juju, away. Yeah. And she ended up passing away actually from, in 2016. But she had last rites and everything.
That's good.
Yeah. So that was really helpful. But no, like that stuff really does weigh on you. Like that, it is so, like if you watch too much of it or if you listen, like there's actually a podcast called The Exorcist Files.
Oh, really?
And it's an exorcist. And he's telling the stories of some of the people that he's helped. And it's actually drama, like it's acted out. Like,
oh, wow.
And there's music. It's like very well done.
That sounds crazy.
Yeah, and it's like, but it's showing hope. Like it's from a Catholic perspective, and so it's like, it's not just like this is exorcism, like very cool, but it's like actually teaching, some actual, like this is how you can avoid doing this type of stuff, and so it's there's applicable things in it, but I can't listen to it for more than maybe half an hour, if that, because it's like because you just take all of that in, and you internalize it, and so like anyway, long story short, I understand what you're saying about the true crime. That's amazing. That's just, but it's awesome that you realize that.
It was definitely, I think it was definitely a series of God just like reaching out and being like, hey, I remember one specific where we were in church and the pastor was talking about I don't even know what, and my mind wanders. I have recently diagnosed ADHD, but so I was just kind of in and out of my brain, and but I remember like in my mind just like wondering what do I fill my mind up with. And I just in my head I heard this, you could fill your mind up with me. And it was like I felt like God was talking to me. And that's not something that happens all the time to me.
Yeah.
Like I'm not, it's like 2, maybe 3 times in my life where I'm like, oh, that was God.
Yeah.
Okay. And it was such an overwhelming feeling of like, oh, you actually want to be with me. And I know that. I've known it my whole life. Grew up, my dad's a pastor, and I have faith, but I guess I didn't feel, it's that feeling of like, I'm not worthy. Of course you're not worthy.
Yeah.
We're not worthy. It's a gift.
Right.
It's not something we've earned.
Right.
So, but yeah, so that was just kind of an interesting, like, okay, prompt and just push to
Was this before you started this journey, like with mops and
Yeah,
stuff? So
yeah.
that was kind of the catalyst.
It was, yeah.
Wow.
It was like, oh, okay. And then I'm like, well, how do I do that? And then again, it was like, well, come talk to the pastors. They can put you on what I really wanted, because I think we talked about this a little bit, but, I had done the secular counseling, and
Sure.
that was great. But now kind of what I wanted was for someone just to be like, okay, well, here, why don't you start here? Read this. Tell me what you think,
Yeah.
And so that's what I went to Pastor Drew about. And it was great. Like we talked about issues and, talked about various ways to look at things and verses from the Bible and Bible study. And it was just really helpful in helping me pinpoint my mind even more, like my heart, just like, okay, this is what you should be focusing on. And so that was really excellent.
What was the verse that helped you the most?
There was one, and it was from John, but I don't remember. My brain, I'm telling you, man.
Girl, same.
But like, it was like the culmination of, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, and I can't remember what the rest of that is. Think upon these things.
Yeah.
It was just like filling my mind and my heart with things from God and not things of the earth. And
Right.
it really, like, I'm still, crazy, but
It's a long process
is.
to like totally 180.
Yeah. But it's definitely helped. And
Yeah.
just having moms around and just people, like other moms to talk to that have kind of the same faith center as I do. I have lovely mom friends. I'm so blessed with all of my friends, and just the
Yeah.
support that they've given over the years. But yeah, definitely the feeling of connection with other moms who believe is really good.
Because it feels isolating.
Yes.
Definitely, like when you're in the thick of it, you're just like, man, I must be the only person in the world
Yeah.
having to deal with this. And Destiny, one of the moms that was in MOPS with us, she had said there was a video or something that it was like there was a mom that was up with her baby, and she's just so tired, and then it pans over to another mom that's awake, and another and another and another, and it's just like we're all awake, we're all doing what we have to do for our kids, and it's like it like totally transcends everything. Having that same motivation, like even if you're not Christian, it's very helpful to be Christian for sure, like because you have similar beliefs, but even just like and I think I've told this story a few times, like when Finnegan was in the NICU.
Oh yeah.
And I saw that Muslim woman, like we both made eye contact and we're like, okay, we're here.
We're here for our kids and doing what we got to do, and
Exactly.
we are different but the same.
Yeah. Did you find that verse?
I did, and it's Philippians 4:8.
Okay.
And it's, finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, lovely, and of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things. And that, like, just sums up for me kind of my mental shift as far as, dragging out of the gutter. And so it's been very good. I think it's really helped me with a lot of, the things that I struggle with my life. Like my family moving away was very, very hard. But we've definitely, it's definitely getting better, and had the talks that needed to happen, and forgiveness on both sides is also very good, and it just it's been a blessing. It's been a real blessing, and it also makes me more grateful like, yeah, my family doesn't look like I thought it would because we just have the one son, but he's so precious and he's such a gift. And
Yeah.
I feel like it, after he was born, the pregnancy was fine. I mean, yes, I was tired and I whined a lot because my feet were cold. And we were building a house.
Okay.
And we did a lot of the work ourselves. And
Yeah.
Jared was counting on my help. Well, I got pregnant like as soon as we started, quote unquote, trying, pretty much.
Yeah.
And I was 37. I was almost 39 when he was born. So I was like 38 when I found out I was pregnant with him on my birthday.
Oh, you did.
I did.
Wow.
Isn't that the best birthday present
Yes.
ever? But it was only like 5 weeks after I'd gotten my IUD out.
Oh, wow.
I was worried because, quote unquote, advanced maternal age.
Sure.
And I was so terrified that the longer we waited, that I would never be able to get pregnant. And because I'd never, like all the years I was married with the first husband and the years married with the current husband, never really had a pregnancy scare.
Yeah.
So I just was like, I don't even know if I can get pregnant. And what if I can't? And just worry. And well, then I get pregnant like the very first month. So I was whiny. But the pregnancy was fine.
Yeah.
But then I ended up at 38 weeks with preeclampsia. My blood pressure was like 190 over 110.
Oy.
At the checkup, they sent me from the doctor's office
To the hospital.
across
Oh
the street,
my
Sacred
gosh.
Heart. And they're like, yeah, you're not going home. I was like,
Oh, wow.
I'm supposed to go back to work.
Yeah.
Like I worked across the other road from the hospital. And they're like, no, you're going to our room. You can have, whoever bring you what you need. And I was like,
38 weeks.
38
That's actually
weeks.
good though.
He was perfectly fine. It was just, they were worried about me. And so like that whole process, it was so different than what I wanted. And I know you understand.
Yeah.
I had wanted to really just try and do it, naturally and not have a lot of intervention. And I was, I had midwives that were managing my pregnancy instead of like an
actual doctor.
an actual obstetrician and, all this stuff. But I was told very early on, like, no, you're going to have an epidural because we are willing to let you try to deliver your son, but you are skating the line of an emergency C-section here.
Oh, wow.
And so I wasn't allowed to get up out of bed because it spiked my blood pressure.
Yeah.
So I couldn't walk. I couldn't move. I couldn't bounce on the ball. All the things that I had kind of prepped for myself, I couldn't do. And
Did you guys do like birthing classes and stuff?
We didn't.
Okay.
I did them online basically.
Oh, okay.
And then
But you did some sort of like
the Bradley method,
okay.
I think.
I'm not familiar.
It's basically it's just a really great way to empower the birthing mom to have a plan for birth.
Got it.
To have things to do, to focus on, have things that you practiced with your partner, whether that's, your husband or your mom or whoever, whoever's supporting you needs to know these things. And a lot of them are like physical, like massage and pressure points and that kind of stuff. And then others, it's just like in your mind, knowing. They really focus on like knowing the stages of delivery. When you get to that point, a lot of times when you're like, I can't do this anymore, you are so close. And that's when a lot of women, they don't know they're so close. And so they give in or they give up, ask for an epidural, and then, 8 minutes later, the baby pops out.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, now I can't feel anything,
Yeah.
So just knowing like that education, knowing where you are in the stages of labor, knowing the psychological stages and knowing your response to them, it's supposed to help. And like my sister with her 5 kids, I think she did this with a couple of them. She had them all naturally. She's a rock star. Actually, I think my other sister might have used it too. But so it was
That's awesome.
It was awesome. It's
Yeah,
it's
that's
the Bradley
huge.
method. It's very cool. But I was denied all of that. And because of the medications that I was on, I was very detached from reality. Magnesium
Yeah.
is a blessing and a curse.
Oh, I hate that stuff.
Yeah, me too.
Ugh. Feels like you're hit by a bus and then you like go backwards through jello. Like,
yeah, and then you view your life through like chicken broth or something.
yeah,
I
no,
swear.
You
It's
feel
the
you feel like
weirdest.
it's like you're having like heat. You're like super hot, super duper hot. You like
Yes.
feel it's like like when you're drunk, it's like your vision is like really.
And if you move your head, the whole
Yeah.
world spins.
Yes.
Yes.
It's
This
so
is exactly.
bad.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah. Not that people should know what that's like when you're drunk, but I do. I mean,
I'm human. I've
I had a
overindulged.
crazy time. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so
Man.
all of that was, very it was really hard emotionally to come to terms with the fact that I didn't get what I wanted.
Yeah.
Um
But that is hard.
but and I didn't honestly, like, I don't talk about this a lot, but I didn't really feel very connected to the whole birth just because of the medications.
yeah, yeah.
And when everything that they had done, like, I went through the ringer because I was not ready. My body was not ready to
Yeah.
deliver. But we wanted to try not to do a C-section. So I had a Cook's catheter. Look it up. Don't do it.
Did you do Pitocin and stuff too?
Yes. So the Cook's catheter goes in, and then basically they use that to get you dilated. It's they kind of go through your cervix, and then there's a ball on the other side.
Oh, I see.
And they kind of just like get you
Ready,
going.
yeah.
And then once that's kind of dilated enough, my water broke. And then after my water broke, then they gave me, they waited a couple of hours to see, like, or it could have been 10 minutes. I don't even remember, like, I was so out of it.
Yeah.
But they gave me the Pitocin, and then
That stuff. Ugh.
also wretched.
Yeah.
And then I was also given my epidural, because I had to have one.
Yeah, yeah.
They were like, you are going to either have a stroke or have a seizure because your blood pressure is so high. This is so stressful on your body, and we don't want you dying. And I was so angry. I was just fighting it, and
Sure.
my husband, bless him, he was like, Mel, look at me. The whole point of this is for you and our baby to come home when we are done.
Wow.
That's the only reason we're here. Like the rest of that, it was great planning, but it's not happening. This is now what we're doing, because the whole point is for you to come home.
Right.
I need you to come home. So, it was like, okay, fine. So then he was born, but like, even when they put him on me, it was like, oh, look at that, it's a baby. And Jared was like, why aren't you crying?
Yeah.
I just didn't feel that connection. Like, I knew it was my son, and I was happy that he was okay, because they were worried about him. They had the baby team on standby just because of everything. The magnesium's not good for babies, apparently, or something they gave me. But
That's surprising they gave you the magnesium
like 2 days before.
before.
2 days. I was on it for 2 days before he was born.
Wow.
I went in on I think it was a Monday. And he was born on, I think, it was like Monday afternoon when I went in, and they kept me. And then fiddled around with all this stuff on Tuesday, and then he was born Wednesday, the 6th.
Wow.
In the early afternoon.
Dang. But the magnesium, like,
It's
I'm surprised because
Yeah.
I got it after my kids were born.
yeah.
For both of them.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Ugh. Yeah, no, I was on for like
Wretched.
the 2 days before, and then like 2 days after.
Ugh.
Because my blood
Sheesh.
pressure was not coming down.
Yeah.
Um,
You didn't end up having to do a C-section then?
no,
Wow.
he,
That's awesome.
I pushed him out with like 4 pushes.
Yeah.
Um,
That was me with Gigi.
it was so funny because the epidural that they gave me, it didn't really work. It was like my left leg was just numb. And at one point, you know, I'm on the like the delivery special stretcher thing.
Yeah.
And the doctor's like, where are you going? Or the nurse or whoever was like, where are you going? I'm like, I'm just here, like doing my thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, do you want your leg back up on the stretcher? And I was like, what leg? My left leg had like completely flopped off the side and I couldn't feel it.
Oh my
Could
gosh.
not feel it. And I'm like, yeah, that'd be great. I can't move it. Like I could feel still contractions,
Yeah.
but not my leg. Like
Oh, your leg was the only
it was
thing
the
that was
only
affected.
thing that was numb. Yeah.
So you could feel the whole birth then.
Oh yeah.
Oh my
So I
gosh.
did get that. I did get that. And he was the wrong way round. So it was, what do they call that? Back
Breech.
labor? No. Like his, instead of.
Oh, he wasn't. Yeah, I get you.
He was coming out head first, but he was like flipped the opposite way that he should have been.
Got it.
So it was more painful. So I felt all that. And they didn't really realize that he was, I think it was his face was pointing the wrong, down, yes,
Yeah.
instead of up. And, but you know, then of course, you know, the stereotypical, okay, his heartbeat's going down a little bit, got to push. There I go. And, you know, and out he comes. And,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was like a really weird process.
Yeah.
And then with the whole, like we nursed, but it took a while. It took like, he was almost 2 months old before we got the hang of it.
Yeah.
And I was pumping like every 45 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
Like for months.
Wow.
And because the lactation consultant thought that I didn't have enough milk. Meanwhile, I had like all the milk in my freezer.
Yeah.
What it was. And so my aunt, Cindy Bennett, she is amazing. She's a lactation guru.
Nice.
She lives in Boise. And one of my sisters or somebody was like, call Cindy. I'm like, what? Over the phone? And so I called her and she, you know, I walked her through everything and she's like, you have too much milk. You're waterboarding this baby every time you try to nurse him.
Too much
Too,
milk.
like
Wow.
fire hose.
Oh
And
my
so she's like,
gosh.
instead of, you know, bottle feeding him and then trying to pump or whatever for the next time, pump for like 2 to 5 minutes just to take off some of, or express
excess
or
or
whatever,
whatever.
just to take off some of the pressure.
Yeah.
And oh my goodness, he latched. And
Wow.
it was, because like he didn't gain any weight the first month. Wow. He was just like little tiny 6-pound baby.
Yeah.
You know, and then, so after that, like I could actually leave the house and do things because I wasn't tied to my stupid breast pump. I mean, they're
Yeah.
amazing, but
No, they're a great tool, but it's just, they're hard to use.
yeah, it was a lot because, you know, I was waking up literally every 45 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
Through the night, every day, all the time.
Oh.
But the wonderful thing that came out of that was I had so much excess breast milk when I was done nursing him, and it was still like it hadn't expired yet. I was actually able to donate it to
That's
a mom I
amazing.
found through one of those breast milk websites.
Yeah.
So I gave her like, I don't remember, 2 or 3 giant bags. You know, and that was really nice. That was
Yeah.
really great.
That's so huge. Donors,
yes.
like Finnegan had a
Did
gal.
he?
Yeah, she goes to our church and she's amazing, wonderful
wow.
woman.
That's amazing.
And he was doing like half and half, like
Oh, okay.
half breast milk, half formula, and I wasn't able to breastfeed either my babies. Yeah, and honestly, I'm okay with it.
Are ya?
Yeah. Like
good.
it took a little bit.
Yes.
For sure. Like with Gianna, I mean, oh my gosh, I was so attached to that idea
Yeah.
of like breastfeeding her that it was actually causing me to not produce enough.
Oh.
It was stressing me out.
Yeah.
And so I would like pump and I wouldn't get anything, or I'd get like very little, and
Yeah.
I'd save it, you know, so she could have something. But I did lactation cookies, the vitamins,
wow.
the tea. I did
All
a
the things.
novena to Our Lady of La Leche, like, and actually I started that novena, and that day I was like, I'm not gonna do this anymore. I was like, I'm stressing myself out. I'm stressing out my body. She's so tiny, like 5 pounds, whatever.
Oh, baby.
And so I'm like, a fed baby is a happy baby. I'm just going to do formula. And it was great.
That's good.
And it was important because when I got pregnant with Finnegan, she needed to be able to be fed so I could go to the doctors.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
So having
the things that you needed.
Right. And so her being formula fed was a blessing in disguise because Teddy could feed her and I wouldn't have to worry about pumping.
Yeah.
And then with Finnegan, I like didn't even try. I tried I tried a little
Sure
bit.
you did, yeah.
Very little though, like maybe for a couple days, like maybe this will happen. But I had my stent still in my catheter still in my chest.
Yeah.
So it was painful to do that. Yeah. And the lactation specialist that I saw at like Kootenai, they were not good. They were very overbearing and it just like turned me off of it, you know. Yeah. But the specialist at Sacred Heart was amazing. She's like, well, maybe you can try this, you know, or like sometimes like the orientation of your breasts actually have something to do with it too. Yeah. And I didn't even know that, you know, but she was so charitable and so sweet. And I'm like, okay, I feel like if I was to breastfeed, it would actually be helpful, you know, like she could actually help me. Yeah. But it just never came to be, and I'm okay with that. Like I had to do my treatments and stuff too. So it was like,
that's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So I like, if you're able to breastfeed, that's awesome. And I'm so happy that worked out for you.
I am too. It was like the one thing.
That's huge, especially since you didn't feel that connection with the birth. Like you could still feel that connection with him.
Yes. And
breastfeeding.
We breastfed for 2 years. Yeah. And it was great. You know, it was like super awesome and such a, like, I look back at that very fondly and I'm very grateful for the, you know, the support and everything that like my aunt gave me, because that's what made it possible to like figure this out. But yeah, it was like super, I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it was really special. But in that like same time, you know, I had always assumed that we would do one more pregnancy. And, you know, it kind of came out like my husband was like, Mel, I don't want to lose you. We have this beautiful little boy and I mentally wasn't like doing great, you know, all the things. And, so that took me a little while a lot of prayer and, you know, come to grips with, okay, we have our little family and it is enough. I am blessed. And, you know,
did you guys ever throw around the idea of adopting?
We have, but not like super seriously. For a long time, I didn't feel like I would be a viable candidate for adoption just because of my struggles.
Sure.
So we're definitely open to it, but at the same time, we're not pursuing it just because it's like, I need to be in a place where I can be stable enough to pass somebody else's inspection.
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing to admit and to come to terms with, that like, okay, I can't, you know, can't have that second child, or we shouldn't adopt right now. But you never know what, and like, honestly, I'm very grateful that I do just get to put all of my attention on Matthias, because it is what I can handle. Right. I cannot, I just don't think.
God knows what you can handle.
Yeah. And one is it. So yeah, you know, but making that decision and making it permanent, like with my husband's surgery, and then I got the hysterectomy. I had a hysterectomy this year, which we were talking about earlier. Is amazing.
For the adenomyosis.
That's right. Yeah. And all the things.
I think that was my upstairs neighbor.
Yeah.
Oh well.
It's fine. I'm jumping off the roof. You know, so like feeling better and knowing, like, by the time it was, you know, time for me to get a hysterectomy, it was like, yes, this is fine. I am absolutely fine with not ever having the chance of having any other children biologically. And like, honestly, like I was, when, you know, when I was trying to come to grips with only having Matthias, I remember praying like, God, just, you know, that gut reaction when I see another baby or a pregnant woman of wanting that, take it away. Please take it away. And he did. Like, you know, now, of course, I'm almost 44 and I'm at a different point in my life hormonally and all the things. But like, you know, even when a couple of years ago, you know, I'd see some pregnant woman or little baby and all I would think was, oh, how sweet. There was no gut reaction of, I want that.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and I can't have it. And, you know, there was no, none of that. And I'm really grateful because it just makes it so much easier to be happy with your life when, you know, it's like, okay, your heart is in line with what you know really needs to happen for everybody's good. 'Cause, yeah, crazy mamas.
I feel that, girl.
You know, it's
I feel that.
But
probably a blessing I only have two, because I feel like if I had more than two, I'd probably go even crazier than I am right now. Like,
you know, and like the ages that your kids are at, it's such an all-consuming stage, and you know, it's so much. You just feel like you're just day to day. You know, the husband gets home. How was your day? He's alive.
Yeah.
Yay me.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know, like my husband used to tell me that all the time, especially during COVID, you know, because Matthias was born in June and then COVID hit the very next, March in 2020.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we were just home all the time.
Wow.
You know, occasionally I would go visit my mom in Spokane, or, you know, if I could get into my my granny's retirement home, show her the boy. But, you know, that was really all we did.
Yeah.
And so, you know, Jared would get home and just be like, you know, hey, how you doing? I'd be like, oh, I'm a terrible mom. Well, he's alive, isn't he? Well, yeah, but the house isn't clean. He's alive, isn't he? He looks pretty happy. Yeah, he's happy, all right. I played with him all day, you know.
Yeah.
But it's like, and that's kind of how I just like swung around to the idea of, well, my house is dirty, but it's not filthy. It's messy, but it's fine. And he's happy.
You can walk on the floor.
I can.
And so that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. The garbage goes out with regularity.
Yep.
You know, yeah. So yeah, it's just, I feel like being a mom and being a wife is like constantly adjusting your expectations. You know, like just constantly, you have this idea in your head, but then reality sets in and our own frailty becomes apparent, and we're like, oh yeah, that's how this is going to go. Okay.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh man, preach, girl. That's crazy. It is.
It is just the way it is, you know. And I mean, I suppose that's the way life is, really.
Yeah.
Because we all have this idea, I'm going to be a lawyer and I'm going to do all this stuff and I'm going to make all the money or whatever, you know. And then you realize, oh yeah, no, that's not how this is going.
I almost feel like pessimists have it dialed in a little, because I think about it and I'm like, pessimists are kind of awesome, because it's like they see it for what it is. Like, this probably won't happen, and then it happens and they're like, oh yeah, okay, that's awesome. Like, you're constantly surprised. And like, I think ever since becoming a mom, I've almost become more pessimistic in a sense, where I'm like,
really?
yeah, like, not that I'm like brooding over well, I am, but you know, like, it's not like I'm like Squidward or anything, you know. I'm just more like, well, this probably won't happen. Like, we probably won't be able to do this or this. And then it happens and we're just like, oh yeah,
this is great.
That's great. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. It's not a bad way to be, because like if you're always thinking that you can get the pie in the sky type stuff,
then you're always going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
So like with kids, like as you said, you have to adjust your expectations all the time. Like I remember saying like, I'm never going to have my kids look at a screen. And now my kids are watching TV almost all the time.
I know.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, are my kids gonna be idiots? Like, but they won't. Like, Gianna's so smart, you know, and she like knows the alphabet and, you know, can say.
Oh, sorry.
Oh no, sorry. I was just gonna say she can count to 20. Like,
That's awesome.
yeah. So it's like she's learning these things organically, you know, and so it's like, okay, something's happening. Like,
Oh yeah. Yeah. This is just random, but one of those things that like my husband started for our son was it's a YouTube channel called SciShow Kids, SCI, so like science, SciShow Kids. It's done by are you familiar with the Green Brothers, Hank and John?
yes, yes.
They started the original SciShow for adults, but they have a kids program.
No way.
And it's awesome. And Matthias learns all the things.
Yes.
Although it is kind of funny because they only use like whatever millimeters and centimeters and stuff.
Oh,
and
they
so
use the metric system.
Thank you. So sometimes Matthias will be like, well, this looks like it's 10 centimeters. And I'm like, what the heck is 10 centimeters? You know, and I got to put it through Google.
Honestly, I'm so sad we don't use the metric system in the United States.
It would make more sense, you know, to pick one. I don't care. Pick one.
Yeah.
But anyway, SciShow Kids on YouTube.
I will show Gianna that.
And it's really engaging.
Yeah.
They have a little mouse called Squeaks. It's like a little
That's
robot
so cool.
puppet mouse.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there's a couple of human hosts. And they have the fort. That's where they hang out and they do all their science experiments.
Wow.
And it's super cool. Now, be aware that because this happens to us all the time, he'll see one of these shows and then he'll come and be like, hey, Mama, can we put sugar in water? Because he wants to see like the difference between a solution or a
yeah.
See, words are
I know.
hard.
I know what you're saying. Though.
Yeah, but you know, like the ability to, you know, like the sugar dissolves completely into sugar and you can't get it back out. But then like if you put sand or rice, you know, it's a different kind of a thing. And so there's all these like hands-on little experiments that they show
so
that you can do
cool.
at home. And it's really cool. So anyway, TV helps.
Wow, it does. No, it does for sure. Like, we live in an apartment, and so it's hard for her to like go and explore the outdoors.
Yes.
You know, especially like I took the kids to the park over here, and Finnegan ran off. Gianna's still on the park. I was alone, you know, so I'm like carrying both of them under my arms as if I'm holding like barrels.
Oh my goodness.
Trying to get them. It was a mess. Anyway, so, but they learn a lot. Like, what was one? I do Storybots for them.
Oh yeah?
And that's really cool. That's on Netflix. And Gianna learned the alphabet from that.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, they do the songs, and I actually like the songs. Like, they're actually nice.
It's not maddening or
no,
doesn't drive you crazy.
No, it's not. Like, they actually are well produced. No, you're good. But yeah, no, I like them a lot. Like, they actually get stuck in my head.
Yeah.
All the time. Bless you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's I think one of the nice differences between like, you know, like when I was growing up, we're back to, you know, Mr. Rogers and Sesame Street.
Yeah.
That was like it.
Yeah.
You know, the rest of it was the Bugs Bunny and Tweety show, which is absolute drivel. But I love it.
Very funny. But it's like I'm not wanting to teach my kid how to shoot someone in the face.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Or like rocks from high heights or whatever.
It is funny though.
It is funny.
Oh man.
But you know, so like I feel like there's just so many more shows that even if they don't teach you anything like from an educational like textbook point of view, they're pushing how to get along with our friends, how to use our words, and
right.
you know, listening to our mummies or whatever it is,
right.
And that's great.
Yeah,
but
there's a lot of really good stuff, and like there's a lot of garbage out there for sure. Like I have to definitely watch things before I show them to the kids, but no, it's like there's one called Bear in the Big Blue House. And that one's really good too.
Oh, very fun.
I used to watch that as a kid actually.
Did ya?
Yeah, Roly Poly Oly, things like that. Like, yeah, they're really cool. They're Bear in the Big Blue House is like very low key.
Yeah.
Like
That's nice.
puppets. Yeah.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, it's really cool. But Yeah, no, there's just a lot that you have to learn as a. Oops, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one of the funny things about, like, especially going through the younger years where you're at, is you have all these like definite stages, and you learn how to deal with that. And then for me, it was like, oh, well, I have this new skill now, and I'm never going to use it again.
Yeah.
But then, like, every other mom that I've ever known that has more than one child is like, yeah, but just because you know the trick for that one kid doesn't mean that your next 5 kids are going to use the same trick. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, well, then that's fine.
See, that's why I can't have more than 2, because it's like, I've already kind of dialed in on these ones. you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, if I had another kid, I'm like,
No.
I gotta start from scratch.
Again?
What the heck? like the moms out there that have multiple kids, I'm like, you guys are superheroes. I will watch you and be like,
Wow.
yeah, I'm in amazement.
Yes.
For real.
Yes.
I couldn't do it. Could not be me. For sure. God's like, I know you, and you would probably kill yourself. Like, yeah. No, it's, yeah.
Yeah, we're back to the padded room now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's...
Yay, my comfy place. Yeah.
It's nice in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. Well, as we wrap up, I always ask my people, do you think you've become more like your mom since becoming a mom?
Oh my goodness, yes. I mean, so my mom, her name is Kathy Bennett, and she's amazing. She's like the most loving, giving, serving. Like her gift is like, she just cares for others. And like, so she was always a really amazing model of what motherhood should be, but also just what we should be as Christian women.
Yeah.
Giving the love of Jesus to others, and her way of doing it was always serving. Like, she just has this gift, and I definitely, you know, as a parent, I'm like, oh wow, that was my mom. Just came out of my mouth, you know, but it always makes me happy because it's almost always, you know, it's always the good things.
Yeah.
Although at one time something got broken, and my gut reaction was, everything I ever have gets broken, which is something we heard as children.
Oh.
And I said that to my mom, and she felt so bad. She was like, I said that to you guys over crockery or whatever we broke, you know, and we were like, yeah. And she was heartbroken.
Oh, wow.
But that's how sweet she is. But, you know, we're like, no, Mom, like, your tears and you're saying that made like, it hit home to us. Like,
Yeah.
we have just desecrated something that was important. Yes, it's just material things, but, you know, so yeah, like now, you know, when Matthias does things or whatever, when I'm tired and I just don't want, I'm like, no, this is what moms do. We get up when we're tired and we do the dishes, and we, you know, and that's very much my mom. She's, yeah, if I could be more like her every day, I would consider myself very, very blessed.
Yeah.
But
she
yeah.
sounds like a lovely woman.
She is. Yeah. She'll come to visit, and maybe
she could be on the show.
oh,
That'd be cool.
Kathy Bennett.
Please come on the show.
Yes. Yeah, that would be, yeah, she's got an amazing story.
I'd love to chat with her.
Yeah.
Yeah, if she has the time, you know.
Yeah.
I'd love to, for sure.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
If
yeah.
I figure out Zoom, maybe if she doesn't have to come up, you know.
Well, yes, she does. Don't listen to her. You have to come. No, they're gonna come like in October. And visit.
Nice.
But yeah, it's yeah, she's wonderful, and she's definitely a very good example of, you know, loving others with Christ's love.
Yeah.
And
that's huge. I mean, that's,
you know, and I tell everybody, like, if, you know, the kind of believer that I want to be is the kind that shares that love, because Christ loved us so much that he died on the cross for us.
right.
And, you know, if I can't show that love, why would they want to have anything to do with my God?
Right.
You know?
Right.
And that's kind of how I've lived my life. And I hope it works.
Yeah. Well, you want to
you know,
be that, like, you're representative of Christ, you know, and so you want to show them what that love entails, because like he's not evil, you know, he's not someone that hates his creation, you know, he loves us so much.
Yes.
And
Now the sin is unacceptable.
the sin,
he dealt with
yeah,
that.
he's a just God,
Yes.
but he's a loving God.
Loving
and
God.
It's like,
Yeah.
like if you're loving to others, they can see him through you, you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
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 And that's hard to remember sometimes.
Can be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. One little funny story about my son and the way that he's helped me be a better person. We're driving somewhere and I don't flip people off and I don't like call people bad names, but I will out loud be like, oh, I really hate people today. And I'll just say that. Or like, don't like people, you know. And I said that one time in traffic. And about a minute later from the back, I hear, even me and Daddy. My heart about broke into a million pieces.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, and that was one of the very first times because he was really little and had just learned to talk. And I was like, oh, buddy, no, mommy should not have said that. That was wrong.
Oh
I
my
don't
God.
hate people, but they do make me grumpy. And I shouldn't say that. And I'm sorry. But yeah, like every time now when I get grumpy, because I have on occasion like said that again, like, oh, people, you know, and Matthias will be like, but you love us. I'm just like, yes, buddy, I love you.
They humble you, man.
Oh, they do. They do. But, you know, it's like those little things where they, again, just this, like, he's just taking you at face value. Like, oh, you hate people? I'm a people.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh,
but yeah,
wow.
that
That's
was
so precious.
It was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, they do humble you. They're
Yeah.
good at it. Like,
Yeah.
and it's just because of their innocence. Like Gianna one time. Oh man, one time she like copies me a lot, you know. And what was I doing? I think I was just like having a really hard time. I was praying and they're being insane, and she comes up to me and she rubs my back and she goes, "Oh, it's okay. It's okay. It's going to be okay." And I do that to her, you know. But then other times she like she copies like some of the bad stuff, you know, like don't do that. Like, she's like, "Stop it, Finnegan! Shut up, Finnegan!" Or like something like that, you know. And so it's like, and I'm like, oh
Okay.
no.
Okay.
Like you see, it's like you're seeing yourself mirrored almost. It's like when you see, have you heard of the picture of Dorian Gray?
Yes.
It's almost like that when you have kids, where it's like everything that you do is mirrored on them.
Yes.
And if I'm really crappy, which sometimes a lot of times I am, my kid is gonna mirror that back to me. And I'm like, ooh, okay. Yeah. Like it definitely is, it's helpful, very humbling, little annoying sometimes. But I'm grateful for it. But no, it's,
you don't really realize that that's what you're signing up for, because you just think, I'm gonna have a baby. I love babies.
They're so cute.
They're so cute.
Yeah,
but then they
squishy.
grow up and you know, and then they're wonderful in other ways.
Yeah.
But
totally. But then they're like worse in other ways. Yeah.
Because you're just like, oh wow, I do that. Yep, that's where that came from.
I remember my friend, this is the last thing I'll say before I sign off, sorry. My friend has 5 kids. Yeah. Actually, she's going to have her 5th here pretty soon. Oh. But I've, like, when she first had her daughter, who was her first, like, she grew up around me, and, like, her sisters were my roommates, you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so, but I remember holding her, and she'd, like, want her mom, naturally, and I'm like, I can't wait to have kids, because then they won't want to leave me and, like, leave my arms or anything.
Oh, yeah.
No. And now I'm like, can you just get away from me? Like, leave my body alone.
Stop touching me.
Yeah, like, I just need 2 minutes to not have any child touch my body, you know? And so
it's amazing.
it's kind of funny how that changes. It's
somewhere along the lines, you're like,
oh,
weird. Yeah.
Yeah, this was not what I signed up for, but here we are. Yeah. Oh, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. I'm so happy we could do this. And, yeah, let your mom know. I'd love to talk to her.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, my mom and my sister and my
Yeah.
other sister.
Whoever
and
wants to come on,
I'll
I
be
will
like,
talk
send
to
them all
them.
to you.
Yes,
So I
please
get
do.
like a punch card or something. I get a free key lime pie for every 3 moms I send you or something.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, send all the moms. And if any of you guys want to be interviewed, please let me know. The Olive Press podcast at gmail.com. So just let me know. All right. Let's say a Hail Mary and just thank God for this. So, in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Amen. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
Amen.
Lord, thank you so much for letting me interview Mel. Please help all of us to continue in our journey and keep our sanity. Please help us to do your will and to show your love to everyone we encounter, and help us to always hold your love in our hearts as we go throughout our day. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Amen. Thanks, guys.